Hey everybody, how are you doing? Well, finally, I'm back with another prediction video. Last weekend was not very good when it comes to big boxing fights. But this upcoming weekend we got a major fight in Mexico with Canelo Alvarez taking on John Ryder. But before I get to that fight, I wanna talk about first uh, cover a couple of others. All right, first Magomed Kurbanov, doesn't matter, is fighting against Michel Soro. So you know that Magomed Kurbanov is 24 and 0, 13 knockouts, the Black Lion. So he's most famous. He's got two major victories, one against Liam Smith and the other one against Patrick Teixeira, both on points. Yes, 21 and 22 respectively in those years. So he has also beaten Dmitry Mikhailenko by a stoppage in 2 rounds. But, that guy is kind of, yeah, not bad, but not really first class fighter. Well, Kurbanov he's a technician, he's a boxer, rather than a puncher, but he does have some pop anyway. He's not completely, feather fisted. And yeah, but still, except aside from that stoppage of Mikhailenko, in his last, actually, he had another one against Ilyaochkin, but the last, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, 8 fights, six of them he won on points. And Michel Soro, on the other hand, he's more of a puncher, and but he is now already past his prime. He was taught by Israel Madrimo, and 2021. Yeah, so before that, he was on a good trajectory. He had won the WBA gold title. So this is at 154 super welterweight or light middleweight. But then the whole thing with pandemic came and he was out of it for 2 years, out of the ring. And in the meantime, he had deteriorated, to put it that way, simple as that. Yeah, Michel Soro, 35 years of age, 35 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws with 24 knockouts. So I guess his best wins were against Cedric Vito, fifth round stoppage, and the one against Glenn Tapia was rather good, but in hindsight, Tapia proved to be kind of, well, overrated. Let's not, well, I don't know if that's the right term, but there were quite high hopes connected to him early on, anyway. So, yeah, probably a little overrated. Well, anyway, I have no doubt that Kurbanov will win this fight because he's 27 years of age. He's fighting at home in Russia, in his home town of Yekaterinburg. Yeah. So he's originally from Dagestan, but has been living in Yekaterinburg, which is in the Urals. Uh, for you who are interested to know, southern, more like, well, not southern Russia, but more like central Russia. Yeah. So Kurbanov, I think, will simply outbox Soro, and he's a tough guy, also, obviously, since he did fight, I mean, Liam Smith and Patrick Teixeira, who are both like, kind of guys who can hit and who like to mix it up. So, but they couldn't, just the Smith fight was close from what I heard. I didn't see it, but the Teixeira fight not so much. So I think Organo wins and with points. Yeah. most likely. Because as I said, he doesn't have that many knockouts recently. All right, and then there's a fight in UK, which is gonna be shown on Sky Sports. It's Joshua Buatsi who is fighting Polish fighter Stepien. Just a second. Yeah, his name is Pawel Stepien. That's right. Mm. I believe that he was supposed to fight Callum Smith earlier this year, but that fight was cancelled. Yeah, this guy Stepien. He's 18 and 0 actually, with one draw. He's got 12 KOs. So he's the same height as Buatsi, 6'2", which is, pretty good for a light heavyweight anyway. Yeah, and he's got 12 knockouts. He isn't that highly rated, by Boxer because he hasn't fought anybody. I mean, nobody that was, really good. I mean, and in their prime yet. While Buatsi, he's shown some certain defensive issues, and but all in all, he's a better fighter on paper, at least, than Stepien, and he's a puncher, 16 wins with 13 KOs. So far undefeated, no draws either. I thought that his last fight against Craig Richards, which was almost a year ago, was quite close, and he didn't really impress me that fight, but he did, enough to win it anyway. So yeah, Joshua Buatsi, as they say, the jury is still out on him. He just sometimes he looks really good and sometimes not so much, and this depends on. I think that because Polish fighters usually they like to come forward and press press their opponents. So I think this guy Stepien is probably tailor made for Watsi, who is a guy who likes to catch his opponents coming in with big punches and knock them out. And yeah, he simply is. But he will make him. I think this will. I hope this will be a good fight. Anyway, we have seen, of course, also from Okoli versus Cheslock how it can be also really ugly fight. When some certain Polish fighters like to also make it ugly and dirty, sometimes. But usually they bring a good fight anyway. Yeah. So what else is there to say? I mean, Buatsi should win by knockout, but also this might go the distance because Stepien is unbeaten and Buatsi doesn't always, like usually he does win by knockout, but not always anyway. Sometimes it takes him a while, also like against Bolotniks, for instance. But I trust he will be able to stop Stepien, like in, I don't know, like seventh, eighth round, probably something like that. Yeah. All right, and then finally to the big fight, which is, of course, Canelo versus Ryder. Wow. Canelo Alvarez, it's amazing. A guy who is still like 33, I believe, and he's got a record of 58 and 2. Oh man, that's just amazing. 58, 2 and 2, actually. Yeah, that's right. 39 knockouts. Yeah, I mean, he's still 32, actually. Sorry. Um, after he lost for the first time very long to Bivol, he had a fight against Golovkin, who was already, of course, way past his prime, past his best, and he won that fight. That was the only one of the trilogy where nobody was in doubt who won. So yeah. Well, he's facing a guy here, John Ryder, who is no longer maybe at his best. I mean, his peak age or anything, but still a hungry guy, a hungry fighter who is out to really prove himself and achieve something before he retires. He's 34. Yeah, and he made a quite big upset, of course, again when he beat Daniel Jacobs by a split decision. And I thought that that decision was just, it was close fight, but still, Jacobs kind of after like 4 rounds he started to slow down and he just let Ryder bully him too much. And yeah, I mean Ryder is definitely the bully type of fighter. He does have the punch as well, but usually, I mean, like, sorry, against world class fighters, I mean, he doesn't usually win on by a knockout, but and he does have already he has lost to his 5 losses. Callum Smith, Rocky Fielding, Jack Arfield, and Nick Blackwell was the only guy who stopped him. He also lost to Billy Joe Saunders. That was 2013, his first one. So he's one of these guys who get better usually as their career progresses and they learn. He obviously has learned from his losses and developed into a better fighter. I mean the loss to Callum Smith was I mean let's face it. I mean Callum was kind of lucky to win that fight because he didn't do that much, wasn't able to land very much on Ryder. Ryder kept harassing him and bullying him all the way through. So yeah, I mean, Ryder is just one tough cookie, one tough bastard, and he has perfected his style, his offensive style over the years. While the big question is his defense, whether his defense is good enough to withstand the best punches of Saul Canelo Alvarez. And we know that Alvarez can punch, of course, and he is a rather patient guy. Also, he waits for his opening. He doesn't just, go all out, bang, bang, bang. Usually, unless he sees that it's a good, that the opponent is the right type to do that against. So, but here he will be, I think, pretty economical with his punches, especially in the first 6 rounds. He will be looking to, of course, he cannot let Ryder dictate the tempo too much, but still, this fight is in his home country in Zapopan, Mexico. Yeah, so this is a fight for all the major titles at super middleweight because Ryder did win the WBO interim title, but this is the full title, which actually belongs to Alvarez. So yes, I mean, imagine the upset. I mean, if an upset should happen, I mean, wow, the the proportions, the immensity of that upset, which might well happen because since losing to Bivol, Canelo didn't really look that good against Golovkin either. So he did win, but as I said, Golovkin was already well past his prime. So yeah, as I said, Canelo will probably let Ryder first dictate the pace and then look to catch him, coming in with something big and knock him out like later in the fight. That will probably be his strategy. He knows if he just tries to make it a dog fight against Ryder, he will likely lose that fight. But as I said, this is in Mexico, so Ryder will probably have to knock him out to win this fight. Yeah, even if he does win more rounds than Canelo, I don't think he'll get the decision either. Anyway, so yeah, to make this kind of short and sweet, what do I expect? Well, as I said, Ryder has only been stopped once, but if anybody can knock him out, that's Canelo, pretty much. Yeah, and Benavides at 168. So, well, Canelo will probably have maybe, knowing that he didn't look that good against Golovkin, he will look to really put on a show this time. But the question is how much of his prime is left. So I don't know really. I'm kind of divided between a points victory for Canelo or a late stoppage. Yeah, but anyway, Canelo wins very likely. I mean, I would really love to see an upset, but Ryder, I don't think he hits hard enough to knock out Canelo, and I don't think he's either that good that he can really, beat him like win 8 or 9 rounds. That's what would have to happen for him to get a decision like win like 9 or 10 rounds, which I don't see happening. So perhaps the best bet is to pick a Canelo on points. All right. So that was all for this time. Bye bye.